Ground and Pound Show. I'm Stephanie Emily, and on today's show we have News of the Week, kicking it cage side with Ultimate Fighter Justin Lawrence. John Minky returns for the Minky Minute, and we also have previews for the up-and-coming Collision Course. Now here are your hosts.
Thanks, Stephanie. I'm John P. Minky. The P stands for perfection. To my left is Brett Altman with KnuckleJunkies.com, and to my far left is the cowardly Frenchman, Adam Merciel.
All right, back at the Ground and Pound Show, we're going to look over some past action. We're here at the Nemesis Fighting Alliance 145-pound championship bout. We had Daniel Baton versus Shane Moffett. Both of you guys saw the fight. Just kind of what were your initial thoughts of things?
Well, I think it's really interesting that this fight actually went pretty much exactly how I thought, and exactly opposite of what my co-host, Mr. Merciel, thought.
You know, I have nothing to say to that. You paid the fighter.
I did. I typically do that, specifically Dan Baton. I actually like to buy that kid a steak and some cornbread or something to put some weight on that kid, because he is clearly too skinny for that division. And, all joking aside. Okay, what did you actually think about the fight?
Watching the fight, it looked like, well, the original plan was to stay on the feet, right? I mean, that was what they kept talking about. Right. It didn't happen.
I think there was a little bit more stand-up than most amateur fights. I think that they actually threw quite a bit of punches. And listen, I'm not saying, okay, we can just talk about, okay, round one. What did you think? We got Shane crashing in with punches and resulting in a takedown, and then followed up with ground and pound. And that's kind of a typical first round for Shane. I think it's pretty much every single one of first rounds that I've seen with Shane is that, you know, throwing punches into the clinch, either, you know, he finds a takedown or he reverses something, gets on top and looks to ground and pound. He does actually a pretty decent job with it too. I think he was relatively active.
There's nothing else to say. It was Shane Moffett hitting Daniel Baton over and over again. It was Shane Moffett.
Right, but
nothing to talk about.
I mean, okay, well then moving towards round two, did
Tide sort of change at any point?
It did, and yeah, in round two, I think we saw that a little bit. Again, it started out kind of all Shane again, where he was coming out hard with punches, and he eventually. I do want to say that Baton clearly has, and the work that he's done over at Burgers Camp is showing right there. Typically, he would simply just roll into his opponent, try to scramble up to his knees and shake him loose and give his back. He didn't do that really this time. He did it one time in the first round, but he normally would do it a lot more frequently. He didn't do that. He was actually going for repositions, trying to find, at one point he went for a knee bar, and find those submissions, and just trying to be a lot more fundamental and strategic about what he was doing. So there definitely was some growth there. In it, I guess, what was it, about 45 seconds left in that second round, he started to take over.
Yeah, submissions. I mean, it's Daniel Baton, submissions. It's what you said on the last show, right?
Right. He's going to be going for those submissions, and he did hit the omoplata, hit the nice sweep, and then stepped over the head and actually almost hit the triangle choke. And it's obviously debatable whether or not he would have been finishing that had the bell continued, but the bell did go off. So I don't know. How did you score that round?
It was even. I mean, when you look at damage, it was even. Because obviously Shane was in more danger at the end of that than what Daniel was the whole round. I think that Shane controlled more of the fight, or more of the round, but there wasn't a whole lot of danger for Baton.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you.
And then it eventually made its way to the third round.
It did, and this actually was a 5-round fight, so again, it was more of Shane. We don't even have to go into it. Shane all third round. Fourth round, what happened with Baton? Baton ended up, I can't remember how he did it. He ended up getting the back, and right in the back, and winning that round with just back control and threatening the rear naked choke. At the beginning of that fifth round, he comes right out there with that beautiful teep and knocked Baton right on his ass.
Yeah. Daniel looks wore out.
Right. Oh, and then he hits a hook, or he hits a hook kick right there. I mean, come on, you don't get that kind of stuff. That's beautiful, man.
And Shane clearly is the more comfortable fighter here. I mean, that's where it's at. Is that he looks like he could go another round, whereas Daniel looks damn tired.
Right. Again, you know, yeah. This is where that being too tall, that diminished return that you're going to get on being too tall and not having enough muscle mass for your. And I know this one, man. I used to try to cut all the way down to 187 pounds, and I'm not talking about water cut. I'm talking about I was walking at 187 pounds at 6'4". It was terrible, and all I ended up doing was I kept the same power advantage, but I lost all the speed. So I went back up to 205 and. Walking around at 205 and then made the cut from there, and I was still stronger than everybody, but I was also faster.
But
so,
I mean, you look at the video, and it looks like some of the audience is just as wore out as Daniel Banton. So I think a lot of the heat played into that. I mean, Daniel bent over for 5 seconds.
He looks like he's.
It's 5 rounds, but he's done. He's done by the middle of the fifth.
Yeah, but
not even.
Yeah, Moffitt follows up with that brutal head kick. It was a nice head kick. This was a great way to end this fight, and I think it was kind of funny because I think my my esteemed colleague here had a little bit more respect going into this fight for both these fighters than I did, and I think that they showed me a little bit more of my level of respect for both of these guys. I see them both developing as young amateurs who need to stay amateur at this point. I'm talking about pro yet, gentlemen, but they have a future now. I believe that both of these guys can get good. Where I think Adam is a little disappointed.
I'm not disappointed. Actually, with Shane, really, he looked good.
You're a little disappointed in his haircut, aren't you?
I'm very disappointed. Shane, what are you doing, man? What is that on top of your head? Quit that. Shave it. But the fight itself, it was a good fight. Shane looked good. He looked good on his feet the last round, really good. Daniel looked tired, but I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt and say that it was partially due to the heat. But I'm a little disappointed. A little disappointed in the fight overall.
It's an intense pace. Well, maybe coming from the fact that I do have a favoritism towards a lot of grappling too. So when two fighters do grapple, for me, it's like, it's nice. It's like, okay, good. I can see a lot of good technique, and you were kind of like, these guys did not deliver on their. Well, but I tell you what,
they went with a completely different plan. They both said, we're gonna stand on the feet. I was expecting to see them exchange.
Oh my God, fighters have never done that before. They have never come in and said, I will knock this fighter out, and then quickly go down and go for the takedown.
Excuse me for taking their word on a fight.
Or how often do plans just go out the window?
Well, of course they do, but for 5 rounds, do they go out the window?
I will say, no, Moffitt eventually got to the knockout shots, though. He eventually did. It did take him 5 rounds, though. I had fun with this fight. I liked it. Kudos to both these guys. I think there's a lot of growth in both these guys. I will probably still trash you all the time, but just know on a personal level, I do think you guys are growing, and I like you both. And I like watching you both fight. But you both suck.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to look at another clip from Nemesis Fighting Alliance. Here we had hometown guy Malcolm Smith versus hotshot newcomer Chad Williams. Guys, kind of quick fight, quick finish to this one.
This fight was for the Aspire regional title. We have Malcolm Smith fighting in his hometown versus the outsider, the NAI national champion and All-American Chad Williams coming in with what is his record? 10-0. With Malcolm, he has a very strong record at 7-3.
Yeah.
I believe real heavy-handed, great boxer. So we've got kind of that classic boxer versus wrestler thing going on.
And this one doesn't last too long, 35 seconds so into the fight, and pretty much takes care of business.
I think the thing you're really going to see here is just the ridiculous size difference. That's what the wrestlers are good at doing, cutting down. You've got a guy who probably should be fighting at 55 versus a guy who is probably one of the largest 170ers I've ever seen, which I actually mentioned very much. Okay, so they're sitting there parrying, pawing at each other a little bit. Malcolm's trying to measure, find that angle, moving his head a little bit, looks to step in to throw the kick to the leg here, and Chad quickly grabs, uses that hip control, spins him around to the ground. He's in side control right now, and this is where I said that Malcolm definitely needed to stay tight to him, and he doesn't. He let Chad get up to his feet and start laying ground and pound. Now, a little controversy here.
What do you guys think of that stoppage?
Malcolm does go completely limp for a split second, and from what I understand is he did receive some injuries that required some attention later. So again, he was out and then back up very quick, so he recovers quickly. But again, the whole premise behind this this amateur MMA stuff is people have to go to work on Monday, and if you get knocked unconscious, whether it's a flash knockout or not, you know, the fight needs to be stopped for your safety. Again, you know, what was going to happen there? Was he going to knock Chad Williams, the national champion, off of him from that position? No, Chad was going to keep hitting him until he decided he wanted to stop. Yeah, and I think Malcolm Smith was upset, but I don't think he actually complained. I think the complaints were more from the crowd.
Right.
You know, the truth is, you know, it was a good thing that Dustin was in there. You know, Chad's all smiles and happy.
Why did Malcolm take off?
You know, he's an emotional guy. Yeah. He probably needs to get better control of that, because that's something that's going to hurt him in the long run if he goes pro and if he does something like that. I guess Chad seems to be very impressed with himself. He's got that interesting smile. They're not sure what happened to Malcolm. I think you punched him in the face, brother. And they're going to award him with 2 custom belts. That's a pretty good haul for 34 seconds.
Well, it looks like that Chad may be returning to the cage pretty soon in a nice high-profile bout coming up. Anything that you like to know about that or like to touch on?
Well, the rumor mill says right now, according to higher-ups at Spire, that Hugh Pulley, the #1 170er in the area, will be taking on Chad Williams for the state title. And this is a great fight. This has got fireworks written all over it. You've got another striker, but a larger striker in Hugh Pulley. Somebody who's very, very competent at defending takedowns, and he's going to have the height to be able to engage from further outside. Personally, I think that you're going to see a better, more competitive fight. I just think that Chad is just a monster. He's so big and really doesn't really need to take these fights at the amateur level. If anything, he should be taking boxing matches to try to develop his stand-up to prepare him for the pros. You know, what's he going to do? He's going to go out there and try to wrestle Hugh down to the ground, which is what he's good at doing.
Right.
So he's not really developing himself in any sense. He's already got 11 wins. He's 11-0. You know, go take some boxing matches if you want to waste your time doing more amateur stuff. And then on the other side, Hugh, you know, Hugh always can continue to improve his grappling and his striking just in general. He's a very well-rounded fighter.
Yeah, Hugh's a great athlete. I mean, you know, kudos to him. I think it's going to be a great challenge for him and to kind of see where he's at right now with his career.
Oh, yo, Hugh can win this. He's definitely not favored in this. But if he does win this, man, somebody needs to write that kid a huge contract. If Chad wins, it's kind of what was expected. Takedowns, punches on the ground, control, that whole thing, which doesn't define him any. I mean, like, you guys knew that before the fight, so why are we even watching this fight? If that's what his plan is to do, that's his plan. He would be better suited going and taking some amateur striking fights so he can develop that to prepare for his pro debut, which would be better suited.
Safe to say, you know, Hugh doesn't have really near the pedigree that.
Not wrestling, but striking. I guarantee you, put him in a striking match, he's gonna knock the dog crap out.
Yeah.
You know, all that explosive muscle and thing like that. A lot of that goes out of the window when somebody's snapping your head back with a good punch right there. And Hugh has the ability to do that. With this being a Spire title fight, we get to throw knees to the head, which is excellent. This is what Hugh needs, you know, and Hugh totally has the ability to win this fight. It's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. Oh, that fight, what were we saying? It's gonna be on August 18th. Right now it's unconfirmed whether it's gonna be on the Fight Hard MMA show or the Cage Championships. Right now the word on the street is it's gonna be at that Fight Hard, which would be a great venue for these guys. Biggest 170er fight, amateur 170 fight I've ever seen, and it's in front of 10,000 people. I can't think of a better way to do it.
All right, now we're going to look at some great footage from Cage Championships 38. We have 1-0 Javon Wright versus Juan Parra making his pro debut at 145 pounds.
All right, and this was the real tell of this story right here. Javon coming out and really establishing himself with those great leg kicks right there. He's landing 3, 4, 5, 6 throughout the fight. Eventually, he would then start pressing the fight a little bit more with hands, Juan really actually did a pretty good job trying to establish the clinch, but every time he would drop for a takedown, Javon would make him pay right there with those brutal knees right there. Every time he drops down, he repositions, hand fights, comes up, sticks a knee right in there. Really makes him pay for every time he tries to commit on something. Juan actually hits a pretty decent offense himself. He's going for a standing guillotine choke right there, trying to hit that power grip on the guillotine. Javon doing a really unorthodox escapes there, trying to fall to his back. Juan actually trying to go for a triangle armbar combo, but you know, like Javon typically does, is tries to power out of those positions. Second round, Javon's really starting to establish himself as a striker and lay hard punches in there. At a certain point, it really just became too much, and Juan really succumbed to the overwhelming force Javon was throwing at him. Finishes up with a nice TKO from the ground and pound in the second round with his second pro win.
That victory from Javon Wright sets in spin a fight coming up with Alex White coming up on Cage Championships 39. And now we're going to go back to the Cage Championships where we have Andrew Sanchez making his pro debut against a quality veteran, Eddie Smith, at 205 pounds.
The experienced Eddie Smith really wanted to come out and establish himself as a heavy striker, but quickly it turned into a wrestling match where Andrew Sanchez was easily able to take over, being an NAI national champion and All-American. From here, Andrew quickly gets the single leg takedown, adjusted position. Eddie, being a wrestler himself, tries to wrestle up to his feet, but exposing his back to the good jiu-jitsu, a purple belt level jiu-jitsu of Andrew Sanchez when he finishes with the Captain American style rear naked choke.
Brett Otten with the Ground and Pound show here with a special announcement. We're here with Titan Fighting's Joe Kelly and Jim Jenkins with Rumble Time MMA. Fellas, some big news coming to St. Louis MMA.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be doing a show. Titan Fighting Championship will be bringing its Access TV live televised event here to the Dwight Davis Tennis Center September 21st in conjunction with Rumble Time Promotions. We're really excited. St. Louis is a great fight town. Lots of great shows have been here. Strike Force, Rumble Time's getting into the MMA game. It's going to be really exciting. It's time to, you know, this will be the first time really since Strike Force was here that you'll have a real high-end, high-level nationally televised show here in St. Louis. So we're really excited about it.
Now, Jim, can you kind of tell us a little bit how this deal came to happen?
Sure. Well, one of the reasons that I told you initially that I merged with Rumble Time and left Sport Fighting League was because of the national broadcasting connections that Steve Smith and Rumble Time has formed over the years in boxing and MMA. And Joe Kelly's one of those people that they knew, and it was a natural fit for him, so it's perfect.
Now, Joe, I know we're a little far out, but can you tell us any kind of indications about the card and what we can expect as far as number of fights? Or
Yeah, we'll have about 12 fights on the card. 6 to 7 pro fights, 6 to 7 amateur fights. A big blend of some of the high-level Titan Fighting fighters that you know, potentially Anthony Johnson, Jorge Santiago, Bobby Lashley, a lot of the guys that we have, and it'll be exciting. And then a great blend and a great opportunity for a lot of Rumble Time in the St. Louis area's young up-and-coming pros to get on national TV and create their star.
And that's exactly it. I mean, that's the opportunity that this region's going to have because of the relationship that Titan and Rumble Time has had in the past, and they're going to have in the future. So that's one of the great benefits we're going to get.
Well, I know we're still a few weeks out, but is there any kind of hints or any kind of indications you guys can talk about the card leading up to it?
Well, one of the things that we're getting the opportunity to do is highlight some of the best talent that we have in this region. That's one of the things that Joe's going to enable us to do. He's going to bring in some stars that are already signed with Titan, obviously, but we're going to get a chance to, some of St. Charles MMA's best people, like maybe Sampo or Freeman, are going to be out there. Guys that have been headlining here recently, they've had their chance to headline here because they are the best in our region. So they should naturally take that next step up. There's a lot of really good amateurs that are right on the cusp getting ready to turn pro. I would think on the amateur card they'd be a perfect fit too. Maybe some of the guys that won the Gateway to the Top tournament because they've earned their spot on there.
Definitely try to get some pro guys on there as well that are from the area, like Tim Donahue, some guys like that. Maybe see if Kevin Eagle will fight, something like that. Some of the guys that are really big and high level prospects and high level guys here. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah.
They'll give those guys an opportunity to fight on TV, something they haven't had the opportunity to do in the past. So.
Yeah, I know Jimmy Donahue just signed, I know at St. Charles MMA, and he's somebody that, you know, we'd be happy to do and put him on. There's another guy that we've talked about. We've got to sit down and have dinner tonight and talk over a lot of people, and I think you guys are going to be surprised on who some of the folks that end up on the card are, and I wish it was, you know, we could fit everyone on, but that's one of the things that we've been forming good relationships with the gyms and the fighters and the trainers as my previous company, and as Steve has done with Rumble Time all along, and we're continuing to do. So the people we got the good relationships with is obviously who's going to get a chance to move forward with us.
All right, well, just in closing, I'd like to say, you know, congratulations, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. It's a unique setting, a really unique venue. The Forest Park area is awesome. It'll be, you know, I think they've done a boxing show there before, so it'll be really exciting. It's gonna be awesome. I mean, unique venue, great place to kick off Titan Fighting's new relationship with Steve Smith and Rumble Time, and bring some of the shows here to St. Louis. It's a great fight town. You guys are great.
Welcome to Kicking It Cage Side. We have guest this week is Justin Lawrence from The Ultimate Fighter and UFC. Justin, we have UFC 150 coming up in August in Denver. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I'm fighting in UFC 150. I'm fighting Max Holloway. He's a real tough striker. He's young. He's one of the youngest fighters in the UFC right now. He's really hungry. I'm expecting a war, nothing less. You know, I just want to go out there and put on a great show for the fans and show the UFC that's where I belong. It's on a great card. Frank Yeager, Ben Henderson, and nothing better to go in there at the Pepsi Center of Denver, Colorado, and do what I love to do and put on a great show.
And Justin, when you look back on your Ultimate Fighter experience, what are some of the things that you think you gained most from that?
You know, one of the things I drew from the toughest experience was, you know, getting coached by some of the best trainers around the world. You know, Dominic Cruz brought in a tremendous staff, and you know, if anything I took from those guys was learning how to train like a world champion. You know, he did a really good job and pushed us very hard. You know, when I first came into that house, I was kind of like, I'm going to stick to myself. I'm going to do my own thing. You know, and that's tough to do for 13 weeks with you know 7 other guys on the team that you train with day in and day out. You know, and I created some really good relationships and really good friend bonds with those guys. You know, and yeah, those are types of things that you'll always take with you. You know, at the end of the day, you know, when we're both, you know, 40 years old and we're all beat up and old fighters, we could always go back and have a laugh on that. You know, that's one of the greatest things about this whole thing.
Now after the Ultimate Fighter show, and obviously, you know, you had a nice showing at the UFC in your first fight. Do you see yourself now more as a public figure, and are you getting recognized more out in the street?
Yeah, you know, I get stopped a lot when I go to the gas station, or when I go to Walmart. You know, I see guys looking at me and pointing. You know, it's a great thing and a great experience. You know, and I'm always willing to sign those autographs for those little kids and those people that are those super diehard fans. You know, I was actually flying back to St. Louis. I was in the Vegas airport, and I was actually getting my boarding pass for my flight, and this guy, he was talking, and I looked over next to him, and he looked over at me, and he was like, "Oh, you're Justin Lawrence. Like, you're from the show. You're awesome. I love your style. I thought you were going to win the show, this and that." And it was just really cool, and it really motivates me and fuels my fire to train hard and put those shows on for the fans. And like everyone else, like every fighter should understand, we're out there, we're fighting for the fans. You know, you gotta understand that. You've got to fight and put on a good show for the fans.
Yeah, Justin, we heard that the City Pacific, you know, recently recognized you.
Yeah, I was actually, you know, I got a little certificate, like the key to the city for Pacific. It was really cool, and to get noticed by the town. You know, there's a lot of guys that are my age, you know, maybe not as successful, but I'm doing something positive, and I'm really hungry, and I'm really motivated, and they've seen that, and it was really cool for the board to really appreciate my success and give me a little certificate for the City Pacific.
Now, on a lighter note, can you shed a little light on this mullet controversy that kind of spread along the Twitter?
Yeah, you know, I was actually I found this picture of when I was 4 years old that my mom had of me, and I had this glorious locks of just beautifulness, it was a mullet. And I tweeted it, put it on my Twitter, and I was asking my fans, I'm like, hey, what if I grew this out? What would you think? And everyone loved it. It blew up. It turned out to be the Twitter pick, the sensation. Everyone was retweeting it, and somehow I got back to Clay Matthews. And Clay Matthews, he's a linebacker for the Pittsburgh or the Green Bay Packers. I'm sorry. And he tweeted the picture that saying that it was him. And all these NFL articles came out, and I had actually a buddy email me it, and I checked my email and I seen this. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I kind of got a little butthurt, I'm not gonna lie. So I actually kind of emailed the writer of the story and told him, hey, this is a really cool article, but this is me. And they seen him seen the picture of me, and he actually did a follow-up story on it, saying that I was a professional fighter fighting for the UFC, and kind of covered it all up.
During the whole season on The Ultimate Fighter, you're filmed quite a bit wearing those blocky white shades.
Yeah, when I got out and I was, checking my Twitter, I don't know how many personal or direct messages I have on Twitter asking me where I got those shades. They're Oakleys, they're oil rigs, and they're kind of flashy, and they really catch your eye. And I've had those glasses for about 3 years now, and so if anyone really wants to know, they're oil rigs, Oakleys. They're the T-Pain Signature Series. That's the only oil rigs that you can get in white. But yeah, a lot of people loved them, and I got a lot of publicity off of them, if you were to say. So it was really cool.
And just in closing, would any kind of thanks or shout outs that you'd like to give?
Yeah, definitely. I would love to, thank, Dominick Cruz, the UFC, everyone that, was helped put the TUF together. I mean, that show has really, really done a lot for the fighters, really helped the fighters out through their career and really kind of jumpstart them. Of course, 21st Century American Martial Arts. I can't, say a lot enough for them guys. They've really helped me out through all my training. My dad, Benny Boyles, my mother, Dawn, she's done a tremendous job of dealing with me, and my brother and sister. I love you guys, and keep training hard, and your time will come.
Well, Justin, thanks for your time on Kicking It Cage Side. On Saturday in Afton, two promotions, GFL and Inner Circle, come together for a collision course. In the main event, you have CJ Hunter versus Buddy McGinnis. Just kind of what can you tell us about that fight?
Yeah, that's two top-ranked 55ers. They've had, I guess, 20-plus fights, each of them. The great thing about this fight going into it is that you have CJ Hunter, who is known for being able to grind out fighters. He'll push 5 rounds if he has to, and he never slows down. Now, Buddy McGinnis, he can stand, but he's known for his submissions. So the great thing about this fight is that you have CJ, who's going to be trying to take him down and grind him out, and then you have Buddy, who has at any point the ability to pull off a submission. So really, they pair up quite nicely.
And then another big fight, you have a crowd favorite, Ronnie Harper, going against Gio Rubio. Yeah,
Gio Rubio is a last-minute replacement. Ronnie Harper was supposed to fight Dave Smith, champion versus champion, which is what the show was about. Dave Smith had to pull out, and Gio Rubio's been with GFL for a really long time. He made his debut. I think he's had 3 fights with GFL now, and every time that he's fought, he's looked better and better. You have Ronnie Harper, who is explosive. I mean, the dude picked somebody up and knocked him out like Rampage Jackson and Pride. He's explosive, a little wild, but that's entertainment. And then you have Gio. He's more technical, but he's strong. He's quick. I think that both of them, it's going to be a quick fight, but I think it's going to be fireworks the whole time.
Johnny, any of those 4 fighters, anything about those guys kind of pop out?
Yeah, I actually think it's interesting that McGinnis and Hunter both have fought at 45. Did they just kind of decide that, hey, no reason, we both know we can make the weight, let's just make it easy on each other and decide to go 55? Is there a reason why they chose to go 55 instead of 45?
CJ wanted 145 in the beginning. We actually had Buddy McGinnis fighting KJ Jones. And KJ's a 155. There's no way that dude can make 145. But it was just set that way. Unfortunately, there were some complications with KJ. CJ wanted to fight, and Buddy wanted to take it to 55. I mean, they're both top ranked at 55. They fought at both weights. Buddy's #1 according to Spire, in fact. And,
I believe he's #2. Danny Branson beat him in a couple of cage championships.
45.
That's at 45.
Yeah, at 45. He's number
Yeah,
two
yeah,
at 45.
yeah. That's interesting. Number 2 at 45, but number 1 at 55.
Yep.
Maybe that tells him something about staying at that weight, but it just happened to be that he went against a very good wrestler, Danny Ransom. It's interesting. And the last time you guys co-promoted the GFL and the Inner Circle, there was a team that really came in and wiped the floor with a whole lot of everybody down there. It was really one-sided. It was like they had 6 guys and all 6 of them won really quickly. Can you tell us a little bit about what team that was?
This is the first show that GFL has had with Inner Circle, Mr. Minky. But during that show, yeah, your guys came in and they cleaned house. Congratulations.
Wait, so Inner Circle...
Inner Circle was not a part of that show.
They're not a part of that show. Well, who was Proving Grounds? Proving Grounds was the last partner. And, or did Inner Circle change their name to Proving Grounds, or what's going on? I don't know what you guys do. So, who was the last partner that you cross-promoted with?
Let's not talk about that.
That guy, you don't want to talk about that guy?
I don't want to talk about that guy. His name's Dan, and I don't want to talk about him.
That Dan guy, he's an interesting guy. And either way we look at it, like we went 5-0 on there. I mean, I know a lot of people complained and said that, hey, we came for MMA fights, not jiu-jitsu matches, but 3 of my guys won by TKO, so I don't really know how that happened.
Well, either way, this Saturday looks like it should be a great night of fights, and let's get ready for the Minky Minute.
What's up with fight team names? Why do they gotta all be so stupid? Look, I'm gonna come up with one right now. Team Cornfed. I guarantee you that's somebody's name out there. And in St. Louis, we're no better. I'm looking at you, Alpha One. That sounds like some kind of weird name of a supplement or something like that. It's like, dude, man, you're not looking so good today. Yeah, bro, I forgot to take my Alpha One. And promotions are no better. Gateway Fight League, okay? Gateway Fight League. Oh, it works in St. Louis, sure. Too bad the promotion's an hour and a half away. But the worst of the worst is Fight Me. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Fight Hard MMA now. Not only do they have the worst name of a promotion, they also have the worst name of a gym. Fight Hard MMA Academy of Courage. Courage. Let's think about the courage of the owner and operator, Kenny Nolans. His courage to get in the ring with his sunglasses on in the middle of a show looking like Corey Hart. Jesus Christ, you're a full-grown man. Stop wearing shit like that inside a building. Take your sunglasses off, okay? Or let's talk about the courage of the instructors there. Let's look at Tanya Evinger. Do you see her last fight? Tanya Evinger's last fight, I swear her opponent almost didn't make it to the weigh-ins because she got stuck in second period Spanish. That's how young this girl was. But don't get me wrong, I like to watch a top 3 fighter in the world, or at least a former top 3 fighter in the world, in the female division, of course. A top 3 fighter fight a 1-1 opponent. Okay, let's consider their other coach over there, Nick Labasco, a guy who leaves one gym for big promises at another gym. Then he comes back to the original gym and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Can I come back and train?" And those benevolent gym owners were like, "Yeah, sure, buddy, you can come back in, no problem. We all make mistakes." 2 weeks later, he gets hired by the Academy of Courage to come up and be their new coach over there. So he leaves. Here's the problem: the Academy of Courage is 10 minutes away from his original school. So what can I say? I don't know if that takes courage. It certainly takes balls. I don't even know where I'm going with this at this point. I guess I'll just finish this up. This has been the Minky Minute with your host, John Minky, and honestly, I hope you guys can take a joke, because if you can't, tough shit, I'm way bigger and I can kick all your asses.
Now here are your calendar events for the rest of July. Friday, July 20th, Brawl in the Ballroom. Saturday, July 21st, Collision Course, which I will be working, so make sure you stop by and say hi. Friday, July 27th, Rumble Time returns to Ameristar Casino. Saturday, July 28th, Shamrock FC Chaos at Lumiere Casino. Make sure you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Keep it classy, St. Louis.